O pnawn da gynhadledd yn bleser mawr i fod gyda chi gyd to yma Brighton mwyn sicrhau Llywodraeth Lafur. Nid dim ond yng Nghymru ond dros Prydain i gyd. Good afternoon, conference. It's great to be with you here in Brighton again as we look forward to seeing not just a Labour government in Wales but a Labour government elected across the whole of Britain. I'd like to begin, conference, by extending my thanks to Christina Rees, our Shadow Secretary of State for Wales. Sadly, she can't be with us because she's nursing a broken foot. Now, I don't think there's a bit louder. Thank you. She'll appreciate that. I don't think there's any truth in the rumour that she broke it kicking Alan Cairns around Parliament in the first week back, but we'll ask her when we see her. Chris, we wish you a speedy recovery. Secondly, let me say thank you to Jeremy for his continuing friendship and leadership. Thank you, Jeremy, for the dignity you showed in a tough general election campaign. The Tories came after you in a personal and offensive manner, and you stood up to that onslaught and led the party with great determination and defied the odds. This time last year, conference, the Tories thought they were marching to a 100-seat majority. Right now, they're scared of their own shadows, let alone another general election. What a turnaround that is. Now, conference, when I heard Theresa May was giving a speech in Florence, I thought, how apt. Not so much in relation to the Renaissance, but more with a thought to the works of that great medieval poet Dante. Stay with me here. Stay with me here. Because it's been clear to me for some time that the Department for Exiting the European Union regard the Divine Comedy as some kind of instruction manual. That masterpiece imagines in glorious detail the dark and terrifying journey through the 9 circles of hell. Well, we've been going on our own journey for 15 months and still remain in the first circle of hell, limbo. It's a remarkable achievement. But then Dante did have Virgil as his spiritual guide. David Davis has got Nigel Farage. Now, conference, that book is worth a read as Brexit reinterpreted. At one point, at the close of chapter 21, Dante witnesses a demon mobilizing his troops by using an ass as a trumpet, which goes to show that every century has its own Boris. Conference, this week in Wales, we mark the 20th anniversary of the vote to establish devolution in our country. It was a turning point for Wales and a turning point for our party. The list of achievements is one of which we can be proud, and it belongs not just to Welsh Labour, but to the whole party and movement who made devolution possible. Unemployment in Wales routinely lower than the UK average. More jobs, better jobs, Welsh Labour delivering in government. Wales, the first country to move to a deemed consent model for organ donation in the UK. There are people alive because of that change in the law. Better laws, saving lives. Welsh Labour delivering in government. Free school breakfasts in primary schools, giving children the best start of the day. Giving parents a helping hand. Giving teachers the attention they deserve in the classroom. Welsh Labour delivering in government. The attainment gap between better off and poorer pupils in England and Scotland continues to grow. In Wales, it continues to shrink. A fair start for everyone in Wales, no matter where you're born. That's Welsh Labour delivering in government. Our university students in Wales getting the best deal anywhere in the UK. And who gets the best deal of all? Those who can least afford university. That's Welsh Labour delivering in government. But it's not just about policy, it's about having a voice and someone to fight your corner. And this week, I give a cautious welcome to the news that Tata Steel and ThyssenKrupp have entered the first stage of a merger deal, a deal that should safeguard sites and thousands of jobs in Wales. Now, conference, does anyone honestly think that without devolution, without a Welsh Labour government determined to take measures to save that industry, putting money on the table when others looked away, that those steel jobs would still be in Wales today? Would the Tories have knocked down walls for the people of Port Talbot, Shotton, Newport or Llanelli? We all know the answer to that. They would have let our people down. But with our colleagues in the trades unions, our MPs, our AMs and our local councillors, Welsh Labour stood up for the steel industry. And we did what those banners and badges asked us to do. We saved our steel. Conference, we're proud to work with our trades union colleagues in government, because together we've built a genuine social partnership, and together we're making Wales a fair work nation. And Conference, earlier this month, our Trades Union Act received royal assent. That means that the pernicious attempts of the Tory government to attack workers' rights in Wales have been disapplied. And once again, workers in Wales have the protections we fought so hard to achieve, protections everybody deserves. That's what we do in government as Labour. Because devolution has given Wales a voice. And with Welsh Labour, that voice speaks the language of social justice, fairness, good work, decent pay, and thriving communities. And devolution has given us something else, a newfound confidence. It's something I see every day in young people, in work, and in our schools and colleges. So where has that confidence come from? Well, if you could personalise it, you'd have to give credit to my predecessor, Rhodri Morgan. Now, as you know, Rhodri passed away earlier this year, leaving behind a fantastic roller coaster of a political career, a wonderful family, and an ocean of anecdotes. In May, the Welsh Parliament held the closest thing Wales will ever have to a state funeral, and we gave Rhodri the perfect send-off. It started late, it finished even later, but in between, there was a fantastic mix of poetry, politics, sport, laughter, and tears. And at the end, no one really thought about Rhodri the politician, but Rhodri is a big-hearted, intelligent and inquisitive man who loved his family above all else, a fine role model who we all miss. Rhodri always said that Labour did best when it managed to mix together the mushy peas of old Labour with the guacamole of new Labour. Now, I used to see what Rhodri brought in for lunch, and I can tell you when it came to culinary combinations, he wasn't always the person you'd go to. But on the politics, as so often, he was absolutely right. He was absolutely right about the need for our party to reflect all sections of our membership and all parts of this country. That was the key to our success in Wales in the last 3 elections. When the party at UK level was under serious pressure, our unique and united Welsh Labour identity meant we remained relevant and competitive in the Assembly and local elections when others struggled. It was the unity that gave us success against the odds. And when, in the last days of the general election, the whole party surged, it meant we in Wales were starting from a higher baseline and as a result achieved 50% of the vote for the first time in 16 years. Our identity as a party is robust, authentic and complementary to the UK party as a whole. And just as a country we wouldn't countenance a rollback of our devolution settlement, there can be no question of Welsh Labour's long-fought-for and hard-won voice being diluted as we look to the future of our party. I know that both Jeremy and Tom understand this, and I do welcome their unwavering support for Wales. Because, Conference, we know Labour works best when we work together. Together, we fought a highly successful general election campaign, not just holding on to what we had, but winning back seats for Labour. Vale of Clwyd. According to the bookmakers, the Tories were 5-1 on to win. Result, a Labour gain. It was a great pleasure for me personally to see Chris Ruan back as an MP. Gower, according to the bookies, the Tories were 9-1 on to win. Result, Labour gain. Well done, Tonia. Cardiff North, Tories were 9-1 on. Result, Labour gain. Well done, Anna. Because working together, we've exposed the Tories on broken promise after broken promise, on rail electrification in the north and the south. And we know what's coming next. They'll axe Swansea's tidal lagoon. But because Welsh Labour is in government, there are things we can do. We're already delivering on our manifesto promises. 100,000 new, good-quality, all-age apprenticeships. The most generous childcare offer for working parents anywhere in the UK. And 20,000 more affordable homes. And we can also deliver on priorities for the future of our NHS. There is no privatisation of the NHS in Wales. And whilst we have a Welsh Labour government, there will be no privatisation of the NHS in Wales. Only in Wales are ambulance crews hitting their targets because we've worked with the service and designed a better way of working. And next week we'll publish new guidance for our pioneering legislation on safe nurse staffing levels in Wales. Conference, Wales is the first country in Europe to legislate on nurse staffing levels. And I'm proud that Wales has taken the lead in this area, empowering nurses and ensuring the resources are there to care for our patients. And it was great to see that legislation was promised by the party in the UK manifesto in May. We're already delivering that in Wales. We look forward to seeing it delivered across the whole of the UK. And working together, we're making our communities better, fairer places to live. When Carwyn MP began her brave and dignified campaign to end child burial charges in the UK, we in Wales didn't wait for the Tory government to act. We said, yes, that's the right thing to do. And as a result, the Welsh Labour government has announced the abolition of all child burial charges in Wales. That's what we can do when we work together. And the country needs us to work together more than ever before as we fight the fundamentalists pursuing a hard Brexit. We're fighting tooth and nail against the Tory power grab dressed up as the EU withdrawal bill. It shows up their government as simply incapable of listening to other people's views or respecting their legitimate interests. In other words, as lacking the basic skills needed to negotiate successfully. And looking at the way in which they are failing the country in their negotiations with the EU, I guess we shouldn't be surprised. I'm delighted at the support we are receiving from Labour colleagues in Parliament, fighting this real threat to devolution as we've known it for the past 20 years. I'm also incredibly proud of the work we've done together already. Our team in Cardiff Bay has worked hand in glove with Keir Starmer and the front bench in developing our Brexit policies. And as a result of that work, we now have a sensible, evidence-based, economically sound set of principles and ideas that can see this country through Brexit in an orderly manner. Contrast that with the spectacle of the Tory approach, the various Tory approaches. Does anyone really know who speaks for them on Brexit anymore? Where is the Prime Minister of this country gone? Well, she was in Florence last Friday, we know that. But if before the general election, the country felt as if it had a robot for Prime Minister, we'd now be forgiven for thinking we have a hologram for Prime Minister. She went to the country and asked for the support of our communities for a hard Brexit, and the country said no. And the country said no to some other things as well. Our older people said no to being taken for granted. Wales said no to being shortchanged. Scotland said no to independence. And crucially, our young people said no to being ignored. They said through their votes what we all feel. Britain deserves better than this. This country deserves a Labour government in Westminster, a government that actually cares about the future. And I know that the people of Wales need that more than ever. Under the Tories, we've had to take £1 billion out of our public services in Wales. That's the annual budget of the entire North Wales Health Board. Our communities are resilient, but they're being unfairly punished. And with Theresa May and the Tories, they'll be asked to give yet more. To give up their livelihoods, their libraries, their leisure centres, and their right to a fair deal, to give up hope. Well, Conference, enough is enough. It's time for hope. It's time for Labour in Wales and in Westminster, standing up for Wales, working for fairness, working together, winning together. That's the future the country hopes for, and that's the country we can deliver. Conference, we have a general election to win, and we can win it if we work together for Wales and together for Britain. Thank you.